Good afternoon. My name is Kelly O'Brien. I'm the Comms and Stakeholder Engagement Coordinator here at NICOR. We had hoped that the chair of our patient representative group, Sarah Murray, would give this talk, but unfortunately she was unable to do it at the last minute. We offer our best wishes to her and some of our patient group members who have all been affected by winter bugs going around, so I will be presenting to you today. Just some background and an introduction. In 2017, the NICOR family of audits came together under one banner, the National Cardiac Audit Programme, NCAP. And that's 6 audits, and you can see them in this diagram, and you should have already heard from the clinical leads of these 6 domains earlier today. Previously, patient engagement had been carried out by the individual audit teams, and it mostly consisted of ensuring that there was one patient representative on each audit steering group to provide two-way feedback and act as a patient voice. In 2017, with NICOR's move to Barts Health NHS Trust, and with our new 3 to 5 year funding contract in place, there was a greater focus given to creating a structured patient engagement programme across all the clinical domains. And patient engagement is now in all NICOR governance groups at all levels. Patient representative group that we have today was originally formed as a small group made up of primarily the patient representatives from the audit steering groups, which are now known as domain expert groups. We had also carried out patient focus groups in London, Liverpool and Portsmouth in 2016-17, and the feedback we received then has continued to be extremely relevant in understanding what patients want. So what do patients and carers want from the audit? The feedback we consistently receive is that patients want more emphasis on the patient's overall experience of care. So how they experience their condition being dealt with in all care environments. They would like more emphasis on communications between HCPs and patients, healthcare practitioners and patients. And this is very important to patients. It really does matter to them how they're treated and what information they're given and when, and that they're treated like people with agency. Also, they would like the metrics and information that are provided in the audit to reflect things that patients are concerned about, such as cancellations of planned procedures and how their condition will affect their lives, not just mortality and outcomes, which our audit tends to reflect because they are performance measures within the NHS, and our audit is focused on quality improvement. They would like an understanding of patients' concerns around use of their data. And in my experience, when you speak to patients and you explain how data is collected, and especially why it's collected, the importance of their data, they are happy to have their data used for research and quality assurance purposes. They see the patient journey as a much longer process than we measure in the audit currently. So from first symptoms appearing to decades down the line, with secondary care in the audit just one part of that. And they would like that to be reflected, and that would involve integrating things like primary care data. And they also want the audit to reflect equality and diversity. The Equality Act 2010 has 9 protected characteristics in law, and there is a public sector duty to avoid discrimination against people on the grounds of these. For this, accurate data and monitoring is needed, so data disaggregated by sex and ethnicity, for example, is very important. And our patient group felt that this should be a focus. At NICOR, we are working towards providing data which reflects the diverse makeup of society and that doesn't assume as a starting point that everyone has the same experience of care. And this year, we've included more data of this nature than in previous years. So our reporting, the evolution of our reporting is as follows. In 2018, produced the first National Cardiac Audit Programme report, And we published also alongside that a patient-facing infographic. Then in 2019, we produced our first dedicated patient and public report with frequently asked questions and a full-page infographic feature on times to treatment for heart attack, getting across the message that it's important to call an ambulance when you experience heart attack symptoms rather than take yourself to hospital because it may cause delays. In 2020, published the second report, including a summary of the first wave of the COVID pandemic from research carried out with leading university research teams that we partnered with, and an infographic on aortic valve replacements, and also a guide to free apps to manage your heart health, which we researched. And in October 2021, published our third report, including data from the second wave of the pandemic, a full-page infographic on importance, as I mentioned, of collecting patient data. The structure of our report has mostly stayed the same all the way through. There has been a holistic approach to the report, combining audit data from all 6 clinical domains with useful information, frequently asked questions, interesting features, and then signposting to other sources of support and information. We've made a greater use of photography and infographics, and we've tried to adopt a friendly voice and explain things clearly and have an appealing look and feel which is accessible to everyone. It's written by patients and lay people, myself and 2 patients generally. To write the patient report, we look at themes in the main annual report and we think about what gaps there may be for patients. We brainstorm ideas as a small writing group along with our patient group chair, Sarah Murray. The other reports, the aggregate report and annual report and the summary reports for domains, tend to be aimed at clinical audience. And we've tried to make the information accessible to patients and the public of all ages and backgrounds. And this is still very much a work in progress. And we hope it will encourage people who are interested to look at our other reports. And we've received some great feedback on the report, and I've summarised some of it on this slide. Of course, clinical audit is relevant to patients. It means there's a measure of quality assurance. And the report undoubtedly shows that cardiac care has come a long way in recent years. Back to my father, who had a heart attack about 20 years ago, the differences in treatment are spectacular. This year, we published on our website, and it's linked in the report, a clinician's experience of being a patient. We wanted to get a case study from someone who knew what it was like to be on both sides of the table. So we spoke to Jacob Esau, who was a consultant cardiologist, and I will quote him here. Understanding the patient perspective that their symptoms are real to them, however trivial or silly they sound to an HCP. It takes courage, time, and honesty for an HCP to explain to patients their disease process, treatment effects, what to expect, and it takes bravery to tell your patients when you don't have an answer for some of the questions you're asked. Just a few things that we're looking to do in the future. We'd like to integrate other data sets such as cardiac rehabilitation to provide a richer picture. Currently, cardiac rehab data is based on a yes/no question in the data set, such as, was the patient referred to cardiac rehab? And this linkage would provide more information. Data dashboards for patients to view audit data in a customizable way that makes most sense to them, and we'd work with patients to shape this. Work towards incorporating patient experience measures. Include more demographics and diversity data. And we'd like to expand our patient group and virtual patient panels so we have wider participation. And summing up, just this quote from the NHS Quality Board. Patients, users and carers are the reason for the NHS existing, and as such must be at the centre of all that the NHS and its staff do. If you would like to join the NICOR patient representative group or the virtual patient panel, please email me at bartshealth.generalinquiries@nhs.uk.